So as we all know, Yuji Naka's reputation has fallen down the drain almost as much as the Sonic games he directed in the late part of the 2000s. With the commercial and critical failure of Balan Wonderworld, as well as other issues including blacking out members of his own team in pictures, Yuji Naka is now one of the most hated figures of the Sonic community. But me being a younger Sonic fan, I never had the opportunity to ever talk to him in person, or meet him, so how did I get blocked by him? What did I do to offend him? Well, to figure that out, and what caused his downfall, we gotta look a little bit far back. Born in 1965 in Osaka, Yuji Naka quickly developed a passion for video game development, and applied to work for Sega. Yuji Naka really wanted to push the boundaries of development further, developing 3D games very early on, like the Dungeons and Fantasy Star. It was clear he had a lot of ambition behind his work, and really wanted to succeed. At one point, he was even bragging about how many hours he had worked. They should keep this big ego in mind, because it's a surprise tool that's going to backfire on him later. With Nintendo having domination over the console industry, everyone at Sega was working for a way to beat Super Mario. And after Yuji Naka's first concept was rejected,
"What do you mean I can't make a series about Japanese men beating the crap out of each other?"
he got to work on your favorite Sonic tuber's least favorite video game franchise, Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog was a massive success and propelled Sega into the mainstream. So what did Yuji Naka do after all of this? Yeah, he left. Only to immediately come back.
"No recognition for my work? I'm out of here." Man, Sega are such cheap bastards. Oh hey, look, this definitely not Sega-affiliated company wants to hire me to make Sonic 2.
And with Yuji Naka back on the team, Sonic 2 was officially in development, and even another Sonic game, Sonic CD, was headed in Japan by Naoto Oshima. Just one small problem though. Yuji Naka hates Americans. Some of his coworkers at the Sega Technical Institute of America in the development of Sonic 2 described the experience of working with him to be miserable and annoying. And this was least of all helped by the language barrier, Yuji Naka plainly refusing to speak anything other than Japanese. But you know, that's all fun and games. He did make Sonic 2 after all, which was another massive success for the company, and then he moved back to Japan to work on Sonic 3 and then Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You know, all went over well. And with how great the adventure games were, Yuji Naka's reputation quickly grew more and more positive as one of the best video game developers to ever do it. Until naturally, like all good things, it came to an end in 2006, with Yuji Naka leaving right in the middle of the development of Sonic 06. When the world needed him most, he left to start a third-rate video game company. But you know what they say, never back down, never give up, and Yuji Naka certainly wasn't going to go down easy. And as the new owner and CEO of Probe, his new company, Yuji Naka went on to make Wii Play Motion, and that's about it. Using the funding generated from third-party Wii games, they launched their first ever main video game, which was Rodia the Sky Soldier. And unfortunately for them, it was also the last. While praised in some aspects like its controls, it was also heavily criticized for aspects such as the visuals, leading to a game that had heavy mixed receptions and was really only good on one platform, that being the Wii. So after Probe went defunct, what was left for Yuji Naka? Where would he go next? Well, let's find out. Now when you think about good platformers, what usually comes to mind? Now some would say Nintendo, some would even say Sega, but most would not say Square Enix as their first, second, or maybe even third choice. Square Enix is usually known for their grandiose stories and RPGs, whether turn-based or combat. So when Yuji Naka approached them to make a platformer, it didn't seem like an ideal pairing at first, but it seemed promising with Arzest joining in, and Arzest is a company founded by Naoto Oshima. A dream pairing of Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima reunited to work on a brand new series, it seemed like it was destined to succeed. This pairing started to make headlines as the creators of Sonic the Hedgehog reunited to make something new, while the current Sonic the Hedgehog output was less than ideal. It was bound to be a success, everyone thought. And things initially looked promising with the character designs being shown off first, and they looked amazing. It really seemed like Naoto Oshima had not lost his touch. And there were a few concerns about the gameplay shown, but you know, it can't be that bad, it'll be better by launch. And then the demo released. It's pretty safe to say that Balan Wonderworld was a complete disappointment, and everyone expected more from the dream pairing of Naoto Oshima and Yuji Naka. The platforming, controls, and physics were all so weak compared to Yuji Naka's other work, and everyone was really concerned. But then it was revealed by Yuji Naka himself that he had actually been working mainly on the story, and might have left the platforming elements on a bit of a wayside. And everyone was quick to blame Square Enix for intervening with Yuji Naka's expertise. And the sentiment was only furthered when Yuji Naka revealed that he was actually removed as director from the project, Yuji Naka even going as far as suing Square Enix. The constant bickering with Square Enix and the quality of Balan Wonderworld being pretty low led to an even further downfall of Yuji Naka's reputation that had already been stagnating from years prior. It was just so sad to see a former titan of the industry fall this far in just a few years. So Yoshinaka stepped back, went on to make an indie game of his own called Shot 2048, and everything seemed to fade out of existence. But now picture this. You're sitting there one day, just strolling through Twitter, or X now, and you see a notification pops up. Yuji Naka has been arrested for insider trading. Now, whether you burst out laughing at the sight of this or were concerned, it's clear to say that this was not what anybody had expected. Square Enix just saw the lawsuit heading their way and just decided to arrest the guy. Now, the context behind this is actually that Yuji Naka was in the know about a new game being developed in partnership with a smaller mobile game company. So he bought a ton of stock of that mobile game company, and when the game was announced, the stock price soared up because they were working with such a huge IP, thus making Yuji Naka rich. It's very likely that Yuji Naka was just petty about Balan Wonderworld and wanted to get back at Square Enix in some way. So before departing, he left them a little present. Well, a present for himself. And that's the story of how the former developer of Sonic the Hedgehog went from one of the most respected developers in the gaming industry to an absolute joke now facing prison time and $1 million fines. That doesn't answer the question, how did I get blocked by Yuji Naka? So to find that out, we're going to have to go to jail with him. It sure is nice sitting here playing my favorite 2D Sonic game. I wonder who that could be.
Freeze, scum! You're under arrest for your opinions on the internet.
Huh? I swear, officer, it wasn't me. I haven't just unleashed in about 30 minutes.
No, not that. You committed the worst crime imaginable. How dare you be melodramatic over a 7 out of 10 game?
Sonic Forces?
What? No. Sonic 4.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, now that I'm in jail and waiting for Yuji Naka to come by, let's just think what got Yuji Naka in this situation. Now personally to me, from the very beginning, Yuji Naka just seemed really egotistical. He created great things, but wasn't able to accept them with grace. He was completely unwilling of sharing credit with others and made working with him a nightmare. He literally blacked out Naoto Oshima's face from a Knight's Team picture after sharing it on Twitter, just because of how petty he was after their falling out. I'm glad that Naoto Oshima at least is taking this well, even going on to work for Sega for Sonic Superstars, which I'm sure is going to be a great game. But that's enough for me. Do you guys think this was deserved at all? What was your reaction when Yuji Naka first got arrested? Laughing? Crying? I don't know. But whatever it is, you should tell me in the comments below.
Hey, no advertising in the jail cell.
Whoops. Oh, here comes Yuji Naka. I can finally ask him why I got blocked. So, Mr. Naka, you've gotten in quite some trouble recently with Square Enix. Would you care to comment about that?
Just like Sega before they couldn't handle me. Now I have to crowdfund money for my upcoming game. Balan 2. Hey, work for Mighty Number 9. I foresee no issues here.
So, before you got arrested, you blocked a lot of people on Twitter, but I never replied to you directly. So what did I ever do to you?
You replied to a chain of replies where at least 2 of them were making fun of me for egotistically blacking out a member of my own team from a picture. And my English isn't great, so I just blocked all of you.
Wow, if only you learned that back in the Sonic 2 days. Well, at least now I know so I can get the heck out of here. What do you mean I'm here for 25 years?